everyone, and welcome back. Today we're playing more Golgari in best of one standard. The goal of this deck is to basically outvalue our opponent with every single card that we play, causing the removal to be difficult and our cards to be very efficient even when removed. So things that can kind of do that is Tenacious Underdog, and the fact that we can dash it back from the graveyard, along with Mosswood Dread Knight that can constantly draw us cards whenever we get to the point of playing Liliana the Veil and having Graveyard Trespasser, removing cards from our opponent's hand because our threats are very hard to remove consistently or very efficiently. Outside of that, we got the Glissa Sun Slayer that has to be blocked most likely, especially with how many decks are playing enchantment type effects and control decks that are running around, or just the pure value of drawing more cards when we have a Liliana in play, active, and online. Our top end is pretty similar to what most Golgari decks will be playing for the most part, in Blossoming Tortoise and Shielder of the Apocalypse, along with Virtue of Persistence doubling down as a two-way spell. Basically, Blossoming Tortoise helps us out a ton in the control matchups, as surprising as that is. It's a 4-drop that can be countered pretty easy, because we do play 4 Restless Cottages and 2 Mishra's Foundries. Those man lands coming in and putting in pressure whenever our opponent is tapped out to remove our board because of our threats being so valuable. The manlands will come in and finish the job most likely. Outside of that, we're just going to hop into the games, and if you enjoy, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But it got caught in my microphone. Very nice. Well, if there's a hand that curves out really well, it's definitely this one. So back it up against old Mono Red. Sometimes it's just that easy, you know. We'll play a forest. Maybe they'll play a creature that's will have summoning sickness and not haste. Ugh. Let's play here. Please don't be. Oh, let's go. We do it to the target so we don't take damage off the Wicked Roll. 1/1 whenever graveyard we lose a life, so we definitely want to avoid that while we can. Now, if they use the Lightning Strike on Glissa, great, but Glissa's also a really good brick wall here, and if I swing it and attack and it hits, I can actually blow up the Kimono. Most likely it's going to eat a Lightning Strike here, and then we're just going to be forced to play spot removal game, where Mosswood comes in clutch. And Mosswood will allow us to basically play it, they'll kill it, we'll replay it, and go over that cycle repeatedly. But we do have to answer the Kimono, because if it dies, it'll go to exile. Death cap. This 3 here. Take this out. Again, we can always cycle it next turn. I'd rather have the blocker to block up to a 3/3 if they play it. Or a 1/3 here. Godric will fly over. Yeah, the easiest snap off block I've ever seen. I'll come back. We have Restless Cottage. You will cycle for 1, lose a life. Find another Virtue, which is incredible in this matchup already. Take this out. Gain a life back. We're now at 15. They'll flip over a 2/2, have 2 cards in hand. We can afford to tank the burn spells. We have another Virtue as well. We have Mosswood coming down along with the cut down and backup. And more importantly than all that, we actually have a Restless Cottage that we can crew up attack and then keep making foods and eating them. With a fire. They thought about the card on top. If it was a land, I think they snap it away. Or they keep it with Bloodthirsty. Okay. I think here I'd love Virtue. We could gain the life. I think I path and just take out both these instead of using both my cards. And then I can just play the Mosswood Dread Knight. Or I can hold up cut down and remove something other than maybe like a Godric, I guess, which is like the important reason to keep a hold of the Virtue. They're in top deck mode, so I will play out my 3/2, I guess. I was going to hold cut down, but I think I can afford most creatures that enter the battlefield, like with haste. I'll just block. No kick available there. Again, free blocks for me. I'll take it. The only problem. Okay. Well, you're gone, Dread Knight. I'm gonna play a Shielder here. What they say. Got to stick it to mono red sometimes. Move to combat. Attack. For a ton. Play Liliana. Force their hand. Get rid of the cut down here. Just take the last card. It's a land. I'm surprised to see them not play it, considering we've seen them play 2 bloodthirsty adversaries and not be able to kick them. Is it kicking? I don't know. It's 3 mana. And not being able to kick it there, so I'm a little surprised to see them hold the land. It makes sense because of things like Liliana, but I think at that point you just play it and play to the out of top decking one of those. One goes first. Our hand's pretty solid. We'll keep a hold of it for sure. We have the Mosswood to draw. We have Glissa to play in, kind of investigate the battlefield, if you would. And a Liliana. And Liliana with Mosswood is really, really nice kind of synergy that you can get. The Esper Controller Domain. Control, I would say, based off that draw. We'll play Forest. Honestly, I think I'm just going to play out a 3-2 for right now. Could get exiled with laydown arms though. But thinning out their hand and then playing a Liliana will be really nice. I think they have a way to return this. They could obviously buff it. Sure. Again, not too concerned about that. I mean, realistically, I could have just taken the 1, I guess. But you never know. I was hoping maybe if I could trade it off that the Lily would stick and be perfectly fine. Could have ossification or something along those lines. I think just playing Lily down and plussing when they only have 2 toughness here. We're looking at maybe like a wedding announcement next turn. Get rid of the tortoise here. Get rid of the land we know about, which means they could definitely have more lands in hand. I'm assuming wedding announcement here. Unsure. We'll attack here, maybe a buff. No? Okay.
You know, I think you'd look better as a corpse.
Our plan is to plus it, that's for sure. You can even do something really nice if we draw a land, plus Liliana, discard the land, play the tortoise, bring back the land. We don't really lose out on the value. They're holding up 3 mana. They have 1 blue. Make disappear is obviously an option. Did they discard their land and not have another one? They do. Okay. This is Orzhov then. If that wasn't too obvious here. Let us plus now. Make them make their decision. We're gonna put the cottage in the bin because the inner's tapped. So if we're wanting to get our tortoise down, we got to do it now. So best thing against control in these control style decks is definitely to make sure you have man lands and playing them when you can. So it's a little risky, of course, to discard. They just got rid of Nganjo. They might play land and get the Virtue in, which then we can follow up by playing Glissa using our Virtue to take out a creature. Vicious Farmhand's not going to be flipping anytime soon. Double attack here. They might have another Smite. I think keeping Lily around is fine. Forcing them to use a Smite. So I'll do it. Also not convinced that they have a lot of copies of Smite in their hand. If you don't know what I'm referring to, it's Elspeth Smite. Dealing 3 damage, target attacking or blocking creature. I don't find myself playing around too often. More inclined to believe that they're going to be on... Ooh. What do we do here? Virtue's in exile. They have creatures. I kind of want to get rid of their creatures. I think Virtue's the worst card. We're nowhere guaranteed to get it, but I can also keep it and also have cut down. This will bring something back. Is this the right one? Yeah, and I don't really want them to bring back the farmhand or the dog. I would prefer to get rid of these when this is no longer here. Or able to grab it back, because I can't grab anything but a land. I'll play Glissa down. Definitely attack with the tortoise here. I want to keep hitting lands, especially if I find more man lands. Akanuma in play. Hit for 3. 5+ here. You obviously discard a land, but then that limits their options on this when they're top deck. I think the answer is yes, because I want to keep Lily around. I'll let Cut Down go. This next turn I can use Virtue, get rid of a thing, and then put it into the exile zone. So if I top deck like a land or something else I could play out, I'll have an empty hand activating Liliana while they do not have an empty hand. With Tortoise attacking, we're getting closer to getting our Virtue of just playing it and reanimating things. We have a Shieldred that hit the bin earlier. We can pull up our graveyard right now. We have a Shieldred and another Tortoise, and Tortoise is not legendary, so very nice. There's a wedding announcement. You know, the last card in hand. Now need to thin out the Horde if available because of how good Glissa is when it hits. Don't know if they'll let us. We don't want to sack. So, have anything important in there? Not really. Activate this. Take out the farmhand. We need to play Glissa first. Please don't make the mistake. We'll eat their farmhand so they can't bring it back with another restoration. Then we will move to combat. They'll be forced to block this Sunslayer here because it'll blow up their enchantments if they don't. I might as well attack with the Tortoise as well. They can't make a token here. They're 1 mana short. Again, I want Tortoise to bring back a land. Underdog's a great hit. Underdog working really, really well with our Tortoise. Can't remove it either. If Glissa hits, we actually take care of the wedding announcement. They see that, so they block. Now we have no cards in hand. We'll just plus Liliana. We could minus, but I don't prefer to do that in that spot. Glissa is still really hard for them to deal with. If they blow up the board, I'm still left with the Liliana in play, with an underdog coming off along with a Restless Cottage. So we're definitely, I think, in the favorable position. We also could play Virtue, and they have to deal with it while we bring back Shieldreds and whatnot. How about here? Trespasser has Ward, so their last card won't work unless it's a Void Rend. Or buffing their own creature, of course. Populate. Sure. Kind of what we assumed. They now make a 1/1 after. We can play Cottage. We'll let this land go because we don't really care. Then we can play Underdog. Draw another card at instep, but I think just playing Virtue is better. Here's that. I almost actually 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. We're a little bit short of ever getting able to do this. So they're in top deck mode. They have Virtue. So we'll play ours. Now they have to top deck an answer with this. And I will just minus here. Protect my Lily and keep my land. So eventually we might be able to activate both cottages at the same time and really get through for some damage. Good end step. However, we will be bringing back creatures of importance here. They have to deal with it. So, of course, bring back the most taxing one. Puts the most hurt on them. We have Shieldred activated. We're so close to being able to activate Cottage and Underdog. I'm going to let this last lane go. I'm going to use this card. Wandering Emperor. That's the information we wanted. So that happens. Resolves. These player discards. Again, we only have a land, so it doesn't really matter to us too much.
Tired of your secrets.
You can now dash the Underdog and just let it die here to draw a card back. I know Emperor is kind of important, but we don't have to do anything to give him exile value, and this drawing us cards is going to be more valuable than us getting in for 3 here. I've milled a lot. We're down to 35 cards. Not necessarily that's the biggest thing in the world. Draw another land, we gain 2 more life. We can bring up a cottage to block, so we have that play. Terrace Under would be nice. Did we mill over any at any point? I don't see one, and I don't see one in exile. Could be playing Farewell. Most of these lists actually don't, weirdly enough. Double attack on my Lily. If this is depopulate, I'm perfectly fine. They're showing signs that they would love to get rid of Liliana here. And they concede. They know that we're going to protect Lily. They might not be able to hold the card in hand. They're going to play it out. Underdog cycle is going to be too much. Plus the Virtue is going to keep bringing back creatures every turn. So even if they have a Smite to answer Shieldred kind of permanently, we just get to go back in here, and then we're grabbing a Glissa, we're grabbing a Tortoise to bring back our man lands along with those, or even grabbing their Spirited Companion to draw more cards. Just a tough game for them to get out of. Oh, we get to go first. We do have the colors and mana we need. No turn 2 play, so we're fine with getting the Glade down. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll get to see the value of both Underdog and Mosswood Dread Knight kind of combining with the Liliana here, potentially. Graveyard Trespasser, very nice. I value the Dread Knight more, so I'll play Underdog. Underdog in the graveyard is perfectly fine. I don't want to be forced to cycle my Dreadnought next turn. Any creature here that's big enough to swing through my Underdog, if that's what they end up going with, well, Phoenix Chick is kind of the same thing. Path to Peril, fantastic draw here. Second Kamano kills Liliana if I play it and down ticket. But I'm fine with that because then I get to play Graveyard Trespasser and eat the Phoenix Chick. That also leads to the fact that they might not be able to answer my Underdog. Kamano will be really important in exiling this if it dies this turn, which, again, we're fine because we have the backup Dread Knight in that case. What is the play? Bloodthirsty Adversary. Is this a double attack? Double attack to answer the Lily. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Because I want a Path to Peril maybe both this anyway, but I guess in this case I get to save the Path to Peril. If a creature you control dies this turn, this will go in the graveyard and not be a creature, but I still have a creature to eat, so I'll do this. This will also save my creatures from later not getting exiled by it. Shieldred's obviously incredible here. They're stuck on 2 mana, so I think I just play it now. If they're stuck on 2 mana, what are they going to really be able to do to answer it? I just won't block. This 2 doesn't matter if I just gain it back every turn anyway. So, yeah, we definitely just do that, and then we get to cycle the Dreadwood, play the Trespasser if we hit a land and any of those 2 draws. And they're just not going to be able to answer it. We want to see out of our hand. Reef. I hope that means you're a Risen Reef player, because then we can be friends. I'll play a Cottage. Will this be mono white? Blue white. Oh no. The monster has arisen. We'll get discounted if we get anything. No counter spell. Okay. We want to cycle here, especially with what our hand looks like, because we want to make sure we're hitting land drops and giving us more cards for Liliana of the Veil. But I'm going to play out a Glissa, try to clear the way for Lily. Okay, it's just snap resolving. Well, now we know they'll have to top deck a spell here. I have 4 mana, nothing going on. The combat. They'll let us. No Wandering Emperor available. We do this so they're forced to interact now if they want to. I could go for the third tap, not going to. We know so far they haven't had a counterspell, at least for a creature. But we cycled this and they didn't have anything, so let's try to stick this Lily. It sticks. We're having Graveyard Trespasser, our Tenacious Underdog. It's a free discard in most spots. Get rid of March. So they are just straight up blue-white control. They might have an Emperor in hand, but they haven't hit the second white mana. And it looks as though they miss a land here. We're fine with discarding our land. Or maybe even to go for the throat. That's fine. Find your answers, King. Liliana's still here to play. We'll let go for the throat go. What is your play? Get rid of a farewell. Okay. Land. This is like, do we just get the underdog value, or do we play a shielded into most likely a removal spell? But this also makes their draws incredibly complicated. Now they have to decide to remove it now or take some damage or whatever, and that thins out their hand for a Liliana just to become increasingly more valuable. And memory to lose right off the rip. So you're still going to take your damage. You're just looking for that white mana source, I guess. You draw. They could have a march as well. March and exile some cards. Nothing here. And of course, Elspeth's Smite is not going to be enough. We could just put the hurting on them. Plus, let the cut down go and attack with the cottage as well. Or even draw more cards. I think getting maximum... Actually, let's underdog, because they discarded a farewell, which means they might have another one. So we might end up losing this underdog and be reliant on this land later. So, underdog. Still might be somewhat smarter to attack with the cottage, but I would prefer to draw cards in these spots. Liliana's also at 6, so it's also needing to be answered. Or I'll take their blue-white land and their white land, put it in one pile, and give them their 3 blue lands. Draw. You gain life. We're up to 21. You take another draw and go down to 9, not 19, 9. Holy moly. So what's the occasion? You have an answer for both. Wandering Emperor. Exile my children.
I hope you're ready to lose. You are not much of a roadblock.
What's your play? They play the land. Okay. They got rid of Liliana as well. Wow. What a play from them. You get out from all of it. Take out the Emperor. Keep drawing those cards.
I'm never done.
Play out a 3-2. Land what? Obviously could have another Emperor. I'm just gonna keep playing out. Hesitation tells me that it's probably another Emperor. But I can cut down whatever they target with it, so they don't gain any more life back. Then I get value out of my cut down. No Emperor here. We'll end turn. I'll just keep taking my draws. I want to get them to the point that they're really, really vulnerable to me just playing a shielded. Pass. Yep, kind of what we figured. Be playing a shielded after like an attack with the cottage is kind of what we're looking to do. We're 2 lands away from that plan, but still have a 3-2 in play. They have to answer. You have a clue to draw an additional card here. And we also have the weird play of playing a trespasser and potentially eating a creature and pinging them for 1. Okay. Sunfall. This is a situation I'm talking about where I can eat this. They won't have a creature to make a blocker whenever we try to attack with this cottage. Also, I get to keep this creature around and keep potentially cycling it over and over again. So we make them spend 5 mana to potentially make a 0/0. We'll draw an additional card here. Emperor's down. They have a lot down on their side right now. Assume the incubation token's what they got planned or had planned for this turn. Find another land, which is what we want. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I don't quite have that play, but I can cycle to Mosswood, and after I attack with my cottage here. Only I had a way to really turn it into nighttime. Do you have anything important? We'll take the whale out. We'll take the whale out for lunch. Hit for 4. Now, of course, shielded is kind of ideal, but we just play a creature and force him to remove it. Just let this go. I kind of think so. Yeah, just go for it. Okay, hard counter spell, so good thing we didn't play the shielded there. The first counter spell we've seen so far. Game. Yep. That's what man lands can really do for you. And that's kind of the other thing that Tenacious Underdog can do for you. It's not like necessarily incredible against red Underdog, that is. Because obviously discarding is not as free because bringing it back is 2 damage. But man lands and all that nonsense is just so good against control. Alright, let's talk about deck a little bit. And the variety of matches we played today, I think definitely shows off why this is a contender for the best deck in the meta. We played against Orzhov, which it seemed like Esper. They play the Triome to cycle it to draw cards. But it was Orzhov. They have exile effects, and we're still able to kind of work around it and play our hand out patiently and do stuff. Along with playing against blue-white control, and we got to see how valuable, how crucial Restless Cottage and Mishra's Foundry can be. We didn't really have Mishra's Foundry in that match, but Restless Cottage, one has a 4/4 Bonnie, so Elspeth's Might can't get it. Cut down obviously can't get that, and things of that nature. Even Virtue Persistence, if at somehow we go to block with it or something, and they want to try to remove it after, I guess they'll probably be able to because it'll deal some amount of damage, and that's a sorcery. So it's kind of a bad comparison, but basically all these 3 damage spells make it really, really tough. And some removal along those lines are non-land. So even like, for example, Terra Sunder that we're playing, exile target artifact or enchantment, of course, but if the spell was kicked, exile target non-land permanent instead. This still falls in that category. So it's what these man lands are so hard for control style decks to deal with. And having Liliana, the Veil, constantly taking out their hand with combination of Graveyard Trespasser makes it so hard for them to keep cards in their hand that are really good and effective while also trying to win the game. So we basically are forcing them on the back foot while also keeping our card advantage high and forcing them to the back foot to just basically play defense and stop playing to win to make them play to not lose, which if you always play to not lose, generally you're going to end up losing. It's like, when do you get aggressive and how do you turn that corner is what this deck makes so hard for you to do. Outside of that, I enjoy it. I've played this deck a lot. There's definitely still a lot to learn. I know there's some play patterns that I might do that might not be agreed upon, but that's the glory of Magic the Gathering, you know? We play, we learn, and we play together, and we root for who we want to win. But outside of that, I hope you all did enjoy, and I definitely enjoy playing Golgari for you. But that's it for me today. As you can see, I have my hood up for the whole video. It is cold shit in my house. But outside of that, peace. Thanks for watching. Bye.